Farms in deep red Texas are shut down, and Donald Trump is the reason. Now, as you know, Donald Trump has shifted ICE from focusing on criminal immigrants to going after easier targets such as job sites to pump his numbers up. But farms are hurting because of this, as many of their workers are either being deported or not showing up for fear of being caught up in these raids. And because of this, they're essentially shut down and no work can be done. Just take a listen to one farmer.
3 weeks it started to slow, but this last week or so has been huge. That's when it's like zero people wanting to come out. And
yeah, zero people going to work the farms. And while yes, these farmers are in the find out phase, we're all going to be in it, because they're talking that our food supply is going to be shut down or have major interruptions. And it's not just Texas, it's California and Washington. We are finding out that yes, immigrants do help the American economy. Immigrants are part of the American fabric. We just didn't realize it till it was too late.
Hello, Americans who like to eat. I'm Linda, and I want to talk about empty grocery shelves. They are coming, and sooner than we think. There's a 3,000 per day immigrant detention quota. 40% of farm workers in the United States are undocumented. You do the math. Farms are an excellent place to find undocumented immigrants to detain and deport, depleting the workforce. And now, those who haven't been rounded up are afraid to show up. Let's look at just one state, Texas. According to farmers, this issue has been affecting their farms for a couple of weeks, but overnight, it bottomed out. On several Texas farms, nearly 100% of farm workers aren't showing up. So what does that mean for you? Remember Trump's comment about having $2 instead of 30? Cows are milked 3 times a day. No workers, no milk, and some very unhappy cows. What if your grocery store, instead of getting 30 gallons of milk, gets 2? 28 families will not be able to buy milk. Now extrapolate that among produce. Produce that instead of being harvested is rotting on the vine. Texas is one of the top 10 producers of 40 major commodities. It is the 4th largest agriculture producer in the nation and 2nd in animal products. And it's not just cows not being milked and produce rotting on the vine. 1 in 7 Texans works in an agriculture-related job. If farms stop working, those jobs are affected. Workers not earning money aren't paying taxes. And yes, undocumented workers pay taxes. Without money coming in, they will cut back on things like restaurants and small businesses, movie theaters, wherever they spend their discretionary income. Last week, Trump ordered a halt to immigration enforcement at farms. But it may already be too late to solve the current problem. The lack of workers now mean farms won't hit full production this year. And if they lose planting now, there is nothing to harvest later. Yet, despite Trump's assurances, a few days after his statement, the administration resumed the raids. Vance says the administration plans to continue clearing the country of undocumented immigrants. Quote, "We're enforcing everywhere. In other words, you ought to voluntarily go back and come through the proper channels," unquote. That can literally take years. And frankly, it doesn't protect you from being deported. In the meantime, the question remains, how long are you willing to go without food? Bye, Americans. Have a nice day.
Adam Schiff spoke with a farmer who said that 20 of his workers did not show up because they fear Trump's immigration checkpoints. Look at this.
Fire bar farmer Joe Del Bosque told the senator 20 of his workers haven't shown up due to fears over immigration checkpoints.
If there aren't going to be people to pick the food, it's going to go rotten in the fields, and that means that the fruit that is and vegetables that are picked, the price is going to go.
Trump pretends to be an economic genius, but I guess he doesn't understand the basic law of supply and demand. Trump's immigration raids are hurting everybody in this country, not just undocumented workers, but also the farmers that rely on them and us. American farms depend heavily on immigrant labor. Over half of all U.S. farm workers are undocumented. These people are harvesting our food for poverty-level wages and no benefits. Tell me an American who wants to work in those conditions for that level of pay. But Trump's aggressive ICE raids have undercut that workforce, leaving food rotting in the fields, food prices going up, and putting small farms at risk. This isn't just inhumane, it's bad economics. These farms cannot function without workers. Trump's raids are not solving any problems, they're just creating new ones. If we really care about food security and fair treatment, we need immigration reform, not political theater.
It's Joe from Georgia. So this is news out of Texas. But folks, these are alarm bells ringing for the entire United States. And our government is not listening. Overnight, multiple farms in the state of Texas completely shut down. And the reason for this shutdown was because they have lost almost 100% of their workforce. Now, we know this is the result of the immigration raids and stricter enforcement, but the ripple effect is going to be felt all the way across this country. Now, you've got crops that are rotting in the fields. You have livestock that is not being attended to at all. And that takes a lot of personnel. And we're talking, so now we're getting every area of food to include meat. And the communities that surround these farms, those businesses and those people who depend on the income from these farms, it's creating disasters for small communities in Texas. Now, this is not stopping at Texas farms. This is going to end up all the way across America, especially in the breadbasket, the middle of the nation, because they have tons of immigrant help. But folks, the alarm bells are ringing. Your food on your plate is being affected. So you got to think about it. It won't be soon until either prices go ridiculously high or you just won't have any food to buy.
So you wanted proof that the immigration policy would be affecting everyone? Look at your grocery bill next month and the next coming months. ICE ramped up raids in places like Ventura County and parts of the Central Valley fields in California. They went through fields, they went through houses, you name it, grabbing people up. Now, farmers are seeing up to 70% of their workers not showing up to work, left by fear of being arrested. And that means fruits, vegetables are going unharvested, which means they're going to go bad in the fields. A 1/6 generation farmer put it like this: if 70% of your labor force vanishes, so does your crop. And most local workers don't want to pick these plants. And it's a real worry. Cropland is worth nearly $60 billion, and that could be at risk of going into bankruptcy, being sold off to the next bidder, and that bidder may not be an American company. That could be a problem. Workers themselves are scared. One said, if I show up to work, I don't know if I'll ever come home to see my family again. The bottom line is, this isn't just hurting farms. It could raise food prices and disrupt supply chains nationwide. Be sure to follow along as I continue to provide updates, and let me know your thoughts below in the comments.
Texas farms just lost 100% of their workers overnight. Crops are rotting in the field, livestock is dying, immigration raids are collapsing American agriculture. Americans are about to learn what the actual cost of food really is. And agriculture is the economic foundation for most of these rural Texas towns, so unless these workers are undisappeared immediately, these towns are going to collapse. The cultural reality is the security versus self-direction cultural conflict, and Americans are security obsessed, demanding immediate border controls and mass deportations without considering the consequences. And now they will pay the price, literally in the form of higher food prices. America has got to get back to its foundation of self-directed culture, in which states, localities, and individuals make their own decisions rather than being dictated by the federal government. Because the economic reality is that undocumented workers make up 50 to 70% of U.S. agricultural labor, because Americans won't do farm work, and even if they were willing to, farmers can't pay American wages and stay profitable. And we've seen this before. Operation Wetback in the 1954 saw mass deportations and an agricultural crisis. The Barro Serra program, which ended in 1964, resulted in decades of farm labor shortages. Every immigration crackdown created high food prices because farms had no workers. So what's next? More farms shutting down, ever-increasing food prices, and if Republicans don't reverse this, at a certain point, the U.S. is going to have to import food to feed its own people. Rural Texas voted for Trump. And Texas, you will reap what you sow. Join us for more economic political analysis at culturalperspective.com.
Dear God, if you've never listened before, Texas is reporting that numerous farms are shutting down. They have no workforce to bring in the harvest. So what does that mean? We're going to have less food available. What does less food mean? Higher prices for what is available. Even the cattle has been left unattended. Now they're gathering people up to make a workforce. Don't even doubt that for a second that that's what they're working on here. However, there's no people now. Now, as we come into fall and everything is ready to be picked and processed, we are in a massive FO moment for the nation. So if you have not stocked up on basic food items that will help you survive, God help you. Because you're going to need it. I don't know what more to say.
California's citrus harvest is in trouble. There just aren't enough workers. Farmers across the state are struggling because immigration crackdowns have scared off much of the workforce. In some areas, harvest crews have dropped from 30 workers to just 5. That means fruit is sitting unpicked, and experts warn this could lead to higher food prices. California agriculture relies on over 55,000 migrant workers. So what happens if labor shortages continue? Will this lead to higher prices? Let me know your thoughts below and follow for updates.
So some bad news for U.S. agriculture. Farms in Texas are shutting down at an increasing rate. This is mainly due to the fact that their workforce has literally vanished 100% overnight in some cases. Of course, the immigration raids by Donald Trump's ICE department is causing this, and it's leading to complications for the business, and in many cases these businesses are actually shutting down. The issue with this, of course, is that supply chains will be affected. Prices will be increased as food scarcity increases as well. So folks, let me know what you think about this story. The source for this is MSN. My name's Nick. Let me know what you think about this in the comments.
Immigrant farm workers are not showing up on farms in the Rio Grande Valley in Texas, Florida, and California. In Texas, in particular, in the Rio Grande Valley, they produce many crops needed around the country, such as grapefruit, corn, citrus, oranges, all the vegetables, tomatoes, carrots, cabbage, onions are all grown here. And guess what? The undocumented workers are not showing up there. They're not showing up here in Florida, and they're not showing up in California. Now, I can hear you all say, you don't care, you're glad they're getting them. They're breaking the law, number one. They are criminals. They're not criminals. They are violating a civil violation, which is a fine or a penalty. It is not criminal, unlike the felon in the White House. That's a criminal. You will be complaining when you see no fruit, vegetables, and other crops in our grocery stores to eat. You will care when you see the prices escalate even higher. Isn't that the reason y'all supposedly voted for Trump? Because he was going to bring the prices down, and y'all could only complain about everything under Biden. I don't hear y'all complaining about these out of control prices anymore that we continue to see everywhere thanks to Donald Trump. And all the prices that we've seen go up because of the trade deals or no trade deals and the tariffs. Well, guess what? These prices are going up. Thank you, Donald Trump. You and Stephen Miller. Stephen Miller is such a genius. You know, he is the whole reason that we're having this whole problem, because he is so anti-immigrant. And by the way, his family came from Europe. They were persecuted as immigrants. And Elon, oops, Elon, I did say Elon. Elon, how do you like hanging out with Stephen's wife? What do you think? Love to hear from my Democrats, my MAGAs, my crazies, my cuckoos, and my burned out light bulbs. What do you all think? Only going to cost us more money, and to accomplish what? This is not a solution. It is the problem. Donald Trump and Stephen Miller are the problem. Hear from my Democrats, my MAGAs, my crazies, my cuckoos, and my burned out light bulbs. Let me know what you think. You like these higher prices and the food shortages you're going to see if this continues, and it's going to continue. They're not going to show up. And I'm going to talk about ICE in another video.
We're here. We are here at the FAFO stage. This is really bad. And if you appreciate my content, please engage with this video. I'm just going to read this to you. Multiple Texas farms shut down after almost 100% of workforce vanishes overnight. In a stunningly swift overnight change, some Texas farm operations had to shut down after losing virtually all of their workforce, an exodus triggered by the increase in immigration raids and increased enforcement. The ripple effects of these raids are the gift that keeps on giving and will be felt nationwide. Unpicked crops are now left unharvested. Livestock were left untended, and rural economies are on edge. The story isn't just a tale of woe for Texas farms, it's a warning for American agribusiness, food prices, and communities that keep food on our plates. I need you to share this with every Republican you know. And you don't even need to wait for their response. They just need to know what's happening. And this is part of my line of work. I deal with commercial farmers, including these small farmers, as clients, and I cannot tell you how this is the beginning of the complete collapse of our economy under this Project 2025 administration that doesn't know what they're doing. You talk about the immediate shuttering of farms, because this is actually what's happening with the food, with the harvests that are lying there completely rotting. That is a loss of food to local food distributors, local grocery stores, local restaurants, hospitals. They sell their harvest, all sorts of vegetables, to businesses within the state of Texas. This is where you can go into your local grocery store and now you're going to see hardly any vegetables or fruit, depending on what they're growing, or a shortage of meat. This is what's going to happen. Now, all of the other industries that support farming, you've got local pesticide, herbicide, fertilizer suppliers that are just, their sales are going to plummet. These farmers aren't going to be purchasing that. You've got H-2A workers who are now gone, migrant workers who are now gone. They were paying taxes. Even if they didn't have social security numbers, they were given tax numbers, tax ID numbers. So now you got millions of dollars just poof, gone overnight from these Texas communities. You've got trucking companies that are hired to haul the produce from the farms to the packaging plants. You've got packaging plants who wash the vegetables, grade the vegetables, pack the vegetables, whose sales are going to plummet. Now you're going to have other industries who don't employ either migrant workers or H-2A workers who are going to have layoffs. This is all...
Wait, you mean to tell me Americans don't want to pick lettuce for $2 an hour? No. Now the farmers are crying because they can't find any workers. Ain't that something? After you pushed out all of the immigrant workers who actually did the job, now you're standing around wondering why Chet and Kaylee won't come pick your cabbage in 100-degree weather for $4.75 and a Capri Sun. Y'all really thought folks were going to jump at the chance to break their backs for pennies on a dollar. But you know what's even funnier, y'all? Some of these farmers say the American workers they do get, they don't even last the whole damn day. One guy said somebody walked off by lunch, and honestly, I support it. Listen, I wouldn't be out there picking strawberries and fighting bees and being dehydrated just so that farmer could sell those strawberries for $12.99 a box at Whole Foods. Negative. See, they've been telling you this lie for years. They took our jobs. Nah, Americans, you didn't want those jobs. You just didn't want them to have the jobs either. Now look at you, a field full of crops and not a soul to pick them. Next time, think twice before turning labor into a culture war. Because now, it's just you and your own damn tomatoes.
Hold on, so let me get this straight. The white farmers in Louisiana, they're mad because people of color won't come work on their farms for $11 an hour in 100-degree heat for 10 plus hours a day. Let me run that back. White farmers are mad. The very farmers that voted Republican, okay, they voted for this, are mad that people of color won't come work on their farms for $11 an hour in 100-degree heat for 10 plus hours a day. I'm saying you get what you ask for. Hey, it's FAFO type shit, okay? But hey, don't be fooled. I feel like it's gonna come to a point where they're finna make people get on their farms. Don't count me to it. Because if 2025 was a checklist, hey.
Fam, what is this nonsense I'm hearing about white Midwestern farmers thinking black folks were going to come and work their goddamn fields after they mass deported all of the migrant workers? What in the fuck? They don't know us at all. They don't know any fucking thing about us. Like our own fucking parents and grandparents didn't size our asses the fuck up. Let us know everything about ourselves. Like when my grandmother looked at me at a young age and said, young lady, you need to keep your black ass in school and go on to college. Working outdoors is not for you. That's my fucking grandmother. She knew me. She was right. So what did I do? Stayed my ass in school. Went on off to college. And now you're looking at a 6-figure nigga. What in the fuck would I look like picking Earl's corn? Earl can kiss my ass. If he could do my black job, I wouldn't have it, now would I?
And there's reports now that some farmers have 100% of their workers not showing up and they're being forced to shut down. In South Texas, they grow grapefruit, they grow oranges, lots of different citrus varieties, leafy greens, onions, potatoes, peppers. So not only are the prices of what we can get going to go up at the grocery store, but also there's going to be massive food waste if there's nobody picking these crops when they're ready to be picked. I hope MAGA likes a diet of strictly processed foods.